Thank you, everybody, for that beautiful song. And thank you, everyone, for being here. I invite you now to just take a nice, deep, cleansing breath. Just breathe in this beautiful day. And as you release the breath, release all that no longer serves you. Breathe in another nice, calming breath. Hold it. And breathe out all stress and tension, all anxiety and doubt. Just let it go for now. And as your breath finds its natural rhythm, allow your body to just relax in this moment. And allow your mind to be here, now. Universal love enfolds me. Universal wisdom inspires me. Universal spirit enlightens me. Universal power encircles me. I am one, and all is well. As we begin this inner healing process, let me invite you to relax in quiet confidence, opening yourself to the miracle-working higher power. Now symbolize the unity of your thinking and feeling nature by touching your chest with your hand, and let my words act as your own for your own inner healing, acceptance, and receptivity. I acknowledge that there is a power, intelligence, and wisdom greater than my own. I am in the midst of it, and it is in the midst of me, sensitive and responsive to my every thought, word, action, and feeling. I now make this true for myself by saying aloud, I acknowledge. Acknowledging this higher power working through my life, I admit that I am personally responsible for solving my own problems while being guided and assisted by something greater than myself. As I am ready to surrender the conflicts of my ego to the wisdom of this infinite presence, I simply speak these words: I surrender. Knowing that forgiveness is the key to unconditional love and the feeling of heaven, I now unconditionally forgive anyone and everyone who has ever injured me in any way, real or imagined. And I now forgive myself for all of my mistaken judgments and their resulting actions. From my deepest level of understanding, I now say, I forgive. Realizing that I continually experience the effects of my own thinking, I now choose to allow this higher power to recreate me deeply, filling my mind with thoughts that are only positive, constructive, loving, and beautiful. I call upon this divine inflow by stating aloud, I choose. I choose. I now center upon that one special idea that I'm willing to accept as real for me in this coming week. Visualizing that idea as already acted upon and brought to pass. In seeing my idea become a fact of my experience, I enjoy the happiness and peace of my thought fulfilled and gratefully speak these words. I accept. Knowing that I have an everlasting place in the midst of the power that sustains all creation, as well as the support of all those around me, I allow myself to relax in the peace of fulfillment and gratitude and say, I release. Now, in my mind's eye, I envision the presence of someone near and dear to me. This could be a friend, a family member, a teacher or mentor, someone who has touched my life in deep and loving ways. Someone who may not be physically present in the room with me this morning. I turn toward that image in my mind's eye and say, I'm grateful for the good in your life. Now I open my eyes, turn to the world around me, and joyfully speak to anyone physically present in the room or virtually on this broadcast, and share in confidence and gratitude in saying, I'm grateful for the good in your life.
So we're recapping the month. It's been a month. 4 Sundays. Reverend Lisa had the first, hit it out of the park. I spent the last 3 trying to go find it. She hit it out of the park. But it's on gratitude, as is every November, because it's, Thanksgiving time, but it's not just wallpaper, this is a key point of our teaching, is gratitude. Gratitude saves you. I'm going to try to sell you gratitude today. This is my last gratitude pitch for a little while. It'll be obliquely in there in the weeks to come, but we're going into a series you're going to enjoy called Homes for the Holidays. The Living Spirit Anew. And Danielle will have much to tell you about coming events, but let me just throw this in there, that right at the apex of that series comes the ordination of Reverend David Dewhurst. And that the living spirit anew shall walk into its own creation, and a new glory arise with a new dawn is a passage from the Sermon by the Sea by Ernest Holmes that has been on the cover of every ordination ceremony that we have had at Creative Life ever, starting with my own, and was designed by a man long before the advent of computer graphics and was drawn in calligraphy by hand. So if you look at that piece that's in your weekly email and it's on the Facebook page, you'll see this beautiful art that was rendered. Imagine spending that much time. So I'm going to try to sell you calligraphy too. Maybe calligraphy sets. Maybe we should sell them through the bookstore. But if you want to impress something on the subconscious mind, spend some time with it, writing it out, designing it, making it beautiful. So the Living Spirit Anew, Homes for the Holidays, coming up starting next Sunday and throughout December. But today is sort of the final push for gratitude. Gratitude, among other things, saves you a whole lot of time in spiritual work. Okay? I know that it comes forth in the 5 steps of this method of prayer that we call spiritual mind treatment, but I tell you what, if you start with it, the rest of the 5, particularly the first 3, becomes so much easier. To start with an open, grateful heart. And I don't know where we got off track with this as a society, as a culture, or maybe we've never really done it right, but it's like, I started to come in here and say, did you have enough to eat on Thursday? And you probably worked your way through some more of it Friday and Saturday, and maybe there's still some more of it yet to go. Wonderful thing, Thanksgiving meal. Do you feel guilty? Do you feel guilty because there are people that don't have enough to eat on the planet? There are a lot of people in my position who are saying that kind of thing to their congregations today. You know what? That doesn't feed everybody else on the planet. All that does is it makes you get a little nauseous with what you've had. You want to help feed everybody else on the planet, start with gratitude. Because gratitude spreads. Because gratitude spreads. It's not a private thing. It's not a local thing. It's not a self-absorbed thing. It enters into the consciousness of the human species, the consciousness of all living things, and suddenly everyone everywhere sort of perks up with a sense of gratefulness for what they have in their lives. And the food that they do have tastes better and digests better. And the opportunities that come to them now expand out into other opportunities, and things begin to flow. And we want to live in a flow. It's really hard to work this teaching when you're having to kickstart it every time from a place of lack. When you're having to say, well, I've had a miserable day and I feel lousy about myself, but I'm going to sit down and I'm going to remember there's one life, and that life is spirit, and that life is all the life there is, and maybe I'll just kind of crawl toward this thing and it will give me some relief. That's tough to do. It's also tough to build a habit doing that because there's no incentive, really, you know? It's just, I'd rather just sit here in my misery, or at least my vague discomfort, which is a Western world kind of thing. It's not so much all the time for us outright misery as it is vague discontent and discomfort and what they call, angst or agita. And it's hard to build a spiritual practice coming from that kind of a place. It looks like one more thing to do. It's like you should go to the gym and work out because you're out of shape, okay? Being out of shape, I don't think, has ever motivated anybody to commit to going to the gym and then following through with it. Instead, what's motivated people to go to the gym is to have a picture in mind of what they'd like to be rather than who they feel they are, and work toward that. It magnetizes you toward it. It becomes a path of least resistance. When you envision the kind of reality you prefer to occupy, and this is what gratitude does. I'm grateful for what I have. And the little voice in your head says, well, you ought to have more. They do. These people over here, they have more. You ought to have more. And what you do is you turn to that little voice and you say, little voice, you know what you do? Can you guess what you do? You turn to that little voice and you say, little voice, I'm grateful for you. You don't say, little voice, shut up. Stupid, negative little voice trying to throw me off my spiritual path. All of a sudden, there's not one life, and that life is spirit. There are now two lives, the life of spirit and the life of the little voice. But instead, you turn to the little voice and you say, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for you nagging at me. I'm grateful for you reminding me of my shortcomings. I don't know why you're doing that, but I'm grateful for it because at some point I'm going to know why you're doing that. And when you feel that way, you embrace the thing back into yourself. And the more that you do this with all of the competing narratives in mind, the more wholeness you have. The more agency you have with all of these different parts of the self, including the parts that remind you when you've been humiliated, you've let yourself down, you've let other people down, and you didn't go to the gym, you see? And so you invite all of this kind of cacophony of stuff going on in you to be loved by you, because you'll know. I read a thing this week. Y'all can't find it, I don't think, because what I'm going to give you isn't enough, although you're pretty good. The trail of breadcrumbs through the forest, But a challenge, except here we go. A million random quotes will now appear. Somebody was quoting somebody else. How's that good? How's that for you? Okay. Somebody was quoting somebody else that I read, and it just flew by. And it doesn't matter who, with all due respect. It's just I want you to hear this line because it's really good. Somebody who writes was complaining to another person who writes about trouble they were having in their life. of some kind. And the first person, or the responder, said to the complainer, I guess you'd say, it's all material. Think about that. It's all material. How many songs have been written in pain? How many stories have been written from emptiness? How many paintings have been... I told you a story a while back of the painting that was done through the, gosh, who was that now? Done through the bars of the, what at the time they called the insane asylum? Van Gogh, thank you, looking out on the village, and he couldn't even see a village out the window, so he imagined what a village would look like, and he put one there in the painting, with little twinkly lights in the windows, okay? How much stuff has come out of this deep pain? It's all material. It's all material. We're either where we want to be, or we're on the way there. We're on the way there. And on the way there are potholes, and on the way there, you know, speed bumps, and on the way there, U-turns and wrong turns and dead ends and on and on. That's life. That's the process of life. And when you're grateful for it, when you're thankful for it, when you're at least appreciative of it, it becomes material to you. Now, let me back up a minute. When I say grateful, I don't mean slobberingly grateful. I don't mean, oh, thank you for the misery in my life. You know, because you don't believe that either. Nobody, you know, that's icky. It's like, okay, I can use this. I can use this somewhere. I'll store it away. You know where I can use this if nowhere else? Is if somebody crosses my field of vision who's having a similar experience, I can relate. I can have true compassion for this person. They're not like from another planet because of what they're going through, because I've gone through a similar thing. Not an identical thing, because nobody goes through identical things with anybody else, but a similar thing, a similar path. I will store this away so that I can better understand. At least that's how I'll use it. Maybe I'll use it many other ways. Maybe I'll use it multiple times over years and years. All of it fits in some way. Now, this, again, might sound a little masochistic, like bring me all the pain of the world and over empathy, you know, and I'll use it and I'll regurgitate it out to you. No. When you commit to using the trouble that you've had in your life in a constructive way and be thankful for it, become thankful for it at that level, it stops looking like trouble. This does not happen overnight. It happens gradually, but it happens. It stops looking like trouble. Have you ever been one of these people where when something happens, you're like, oh God, no. Well, not again. No, it's just, you know, there's a nail in the tire. You know, oh no, everything is just, sorry, I got loud in the mic. I forget it's down here, you know. But do you, this kind of thing? I think of it as operatic. Is your suffering operatic sometimes about what's going on in your life? And you have such a good imagination that you can expand this in mind. This small thing right here, this thing that just occurred, this is going to turn into an absolute catastrophe. Great word, Greek word, 4-syllable word, a catastrophe, I tell you. And then, you start writing this whole thing in your mind. A Greek tragedy, really. You start putting this all together in your mind, and you have a little chorus that comes out. Oh, it's trouble, it's trouble. And then they go away again. You know, and right here in Rivers, and they're reminding you, oh, this could be, you know, wailing, and wow, you know, now, well, we're entertained, aren't we? We're entertained with our own thing, but it drains us. It's really exhausting. It's really exhausting to go through life over-amplifying everything that occurs, good or bad, you know, for the purpose of stimulating a feeling that we're not otherwise willing to have. So what I suggest as a remedy is to move more toward flow, more toward a flow of experience, more toward a tidal sort of flow of experience, that at times in life there'll be high tide, and at times there'll be low tide, and at times the tide will be between the two, right? Like twice in 24 hours. And so when wonderful things happen, thank you. I'm grateful. This is super. And I can bank some of this and put this away, and I don't need all of this right now. It's like if somebody, for example, comes up and praises you heavily, and you're feeling pretty good about yourself, or you're feeling, you know, kind of neutral, right? And somebody comes and they just tell you how absolutely wonderful you are, and it's like a lot of it sort of runs off. Bank it for the times when you wake up in the middle of the night staring at the ceiling saying, I don't know if my life really amounts to all that much. Then remember what that person told you. Remember how they offloaded some gratitude on and praise on you, and now it's right, and you can kind of, it's, well, leftovers really. You know, you can go to this thing now and say, I'll take a little, I didn't need it when you gave it to me, but now I'm hungry, you know, and so now I'll take some of this on. The resilience that you have, the strength that you have, the times that you've surprised yourself, this is amazing to be grateful for. The times when you said the right thing without even knowing there was a right thing that needed to be said, and it just sort of came out of you. And somebody really benefited. And you've told me stories like this. You in the room and you online have told me stories, and you've told each other stories like this, where you didn't know that you were really helping somebody as much as you were at the time when they came up and said blah, 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 and you came back with something loving and kind and supportive and encouraging, and they really, really were hungry for that and really needed that and really needed to apply that like within the next 10 minutes. You just don't know. You just don't know. So if we stay, that we have a saying in this teaching, we talk about being prayed up. I don't think it's exclusive to us. Other people say it too. But, you know, staying prayed up. A great way to stay prayed up when you don't have time to do the full, there's one life, and that life is spirit, and this whole kind of architecture of logic of how the universe is one whole system, and therefore that means you, and you want to just cut to the chase with the thing. It's like, what am I grateful for right here at hand? I love this rug, man. This was Bill and Marty's.
That's right.
I love this rug. For years, we didn't have a rug on the stage. Then we had a rug that we pulled from the meditation room upstairs, and it was a fine rug, but it fought with some of the decorations, you know, right? And so this is like this wonderful rug. I love this rug. Why am I telling you this? It's right here. And I'm grateful for it. Am I slobberingly grateful for it? No, it's just a rug. It's not like the end of everything, but it really works. It's kind of pretty and nice, and it's neutral in color enough, and also it's got the function of it muffles the footsteps on the stage so we don't all go clomping across here, which you pick up then on Facebook, right? So this is really great, and I use this as an example. You've got a rug under your feet, not at this moment if you're sitting down there in this room, but you know what I mean. You've got a pillow that you kneel on. You remember Maya Angelou from last week. Let gratitude be the pillow upon which you kneel when you say your nightly prayers. I love that. Let that, and the literalist in us will say, I don't kneel when I pray. If I kneel when I pray, I don't kneel on a pillow because I want to suffer. I want to feel the hardness of the floor under my knees so that I can suffer while I pray, because that's how I was taught. It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor. It means there's a basis from which your prayer is launched, which is, in this case, gratitude. Thank you. Thank you for this amazing life. Thank you for this amazing life. So I got to thinking, I sort of tripped off on something last night in my mind when I read some stuff out of the news. And it said that last week or the week before, we reached a population of 8 billion humans on this planet. Did you know that? 8 billion humans. When Creative Life and I started our journey together, there were 4.7 billion humans on this earth, okay? And we're not talking the 17th century. This was, you know, not all that long ago. 8 billion. So I filed that away. So I've been quoting 7 billion, and here another billion have just kind of come onto the scene without being counted by me. And I think that's an awful lot of people. But then I think that's a cool thing, because 8 billion souls somewhere have chosen to incarnate here. This is still a happening place. They're not fleeing. They're like, I want in. I want in. I want to see what's going on there. So I put that, compartmentalized that idea over here. Then I read, independent of all this, what a great online shopping time was Friday. And the malls and stuff were a little less crowded than they expected, but online was terrific. However, tomorrow is Cyber Monday. Tomorrow is when it really gets knocked out of the thing, and they're saying tomorrow $24 billion will be spent by Americans online. Tomorrow, 24-hour period, Americans only, $24 billion. They could be wrong. I don't think I misread the article, but our fact checkers are checking facts even this week. So I'm going to go with the math that I did when I read these two articles, and I thought, so 8 billion people on the planet, $24 billion being spent tomorrow by Americans. That means that every American tomorrow is going to spend $3 for every human on the planet. However, I plan to spend nothing. Okay? So somebody else gets my $3 to spend if you're working out the averages in a very simplistic, what is it, median or mode, or I forget which kind of way. And if you're not going to spend $3, then that, right? And so somebody else to spend 6 or 9 or 12 or who knows how much. In fact, if we got all of us together and said, you know what, I really don't need to spend $3 tomorrow, we could give it away. And if we all got together and said, you know what, I really don't need to receive $3 tomorrow, I'm pretty good, then our $3 could go to somebody else. And if, I don't know, maybe 100 of us got together and said, I don't need my $3, so if instead of it being spent online, it's going to be handed out to every human, I'll pass on my 3. If 100 of us got together and said, I don't need my $3, that's obviously $300 that goes to some human on this planet, where $300 is 6 months of sustenance. And I just got to thinking about it. Now, I'm not proposing an economic or political solution to the problems of the world here on this stage. I am not announcing my candidacy for anything, or I'm just playing with thoughts. And I'm thinking about that. And I'm thinking about how great it would be if somehow or another we could get what's needed to where it's needed, to the people who need it, in a way, and be a little more conscious of the fact that there's not so much more stuff that we need right now. There's not so much that we need. And then it brings up the question, well, what about the people who manufacture the stuff that doesn't get sold tomorrow if we go with Jesse's plan? Well, here's, it all circles around in some way, because then some of those people could be the people who get the $3 increments. I don't know. I don't have this whole thing figured out. All I'm telling you is it set me to dreaming about something, which is enough for everybody. I mean, that's what I was dreaming, was that there is enough for everybody, that there is more than enough for everybody. And that made me feel good. That did not make me feel depleted at all. That did not make me feel like, hey, where'd my $3 go? Or, you know, or like, I'm not going to get mine. It made me feel in the flow. It made me feel in the flow. It made me feel in the flow. So I don't know how to make this happen, but I can be grateful. And I can teach gratitude. And I can show gratitude. Not just teach it, not just speak it, but I can act like I feel it, you know? I can be outwardly, visibly grateful for the things that are happening in my life, or at least thankful, or at least appreciative, or at least store them away if they're difficult, or store them away if they're over the top beautiful, so that I have material and so that I have what I need when I need it, which is always, last point, he said threateningly, always at the level of feeling. Because giving somebody $3 or $300 or $3 million is good. And here's what's better. The feeling of having your needs easily and naturally met. The feeling of living in a safe and loving universe that meets every need. I quoted in a class the other day, Mary Baker Eddy. We're going to do some work with Mary Baker Eddy's material in the coming year. I feel it. And she says, and I think this is written over the entryway to the Mother Church of Divine Science in Boston. I could be mistaken, but I believe so. It says, divine love has met and always will meet every human need. Divine love has met and always will meet every human need. My need, your need, the needs of people will never meet in this life. Divine love has met. I step into that divine love. I don't create it. I step into it. I let it flow through me. I become a clear channel for it. And the rest, as they say, is history. So let's know together now, there is one life, one power, one mind, one spirit, one this, one that. We're grateful for all of it. And this one is the spirit of gratitude. Spirit is grateful for its own creation. It's grateful for you and me being just exactly who we are, as we are. And if we choose to change, and if we choose to grow, then it's grateful for that as well, but not more or less grateful than it was before. Because it is unconditional in its gratitude, just as it's unconditional in its love. This one doesn't demand obedience from us. Doesn't demand supplication and sacrifice. All it asks is show up and go be you. So we're learning how to be who we are in an effective and joyous way. And I'm grateful for gratitude. That there's a switch in me that I can throw and feel a deep sense of appreciation and connection to everything that is so, and everything that has been so in the past, knowing that it all fits in some way, and knowing that my future as well is piecing itself together in ways that I cannot anticipate, much less manage, direct, or control, so that I relax into the process of life, knowing that I'll be where I need to be, when I need to be there, saying what I need to say, doing what I need to do. And that if I should happen to miss an opportunity or appear to, that opportunity is not lost, but circles back to me and brings friends. I'm grateful for the people in my life who show me who I am, who reflect back to me what I believe about myself, offer support, encouragement, and unconditional love. And I'm grateful for the total stranger who allows me to use my creative imagination in a constructive and useful way by believing that every person I have not yet met is a friend to be. And so I do, in fact, live in a safe and loving and whole universe, and I affirm this knowing and this being for everyone, everywhere, for this knowing, for this Thanksgiving time, for the healing of pain and trauma, for the coming home to the spirit of the self. I am so deeply grateful. I release this word now, calling it done, and so it is.
So it is.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you for your wonderful energy, for your love, for your presence, and also thank you for your monetary donations. We appreciate all the gifts that you give to us. It is because of what you give to us that it allows us to be here to give to you. And with that, I invite you to say now with me, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. I am prosperous now, and so it is.
But please do stay for the gratitude. It is effectively open mic. It is a chance for you to get up here and share with us what you're grateful for. And it can be good if wonderful things happen. And it can also be if awful things happened, but they set you on the path, like yanked your attention up. That's good too. That you can be grateful. In fact, that's the best thing. Sometimes the best thing to be grateful for is when something happens and you're like, oh, it gets your attention. So it's all on the table. There's nothing off the table for gratitude. And Meister Eckhart does say that. If the only prayer you say is thank you, it will be enough. So I know the month of November is dedicated to thankfulness, gratefulness, but it is a powerful tool to keep in your spiritual toolbox all of the time. And sometimes when something has happened that you would prefer not to have happened, that's the first tool to reach for, is gratitude. Is gratitude. And see where that takes you. So in that knowing, I'm going to invite you into the one life, the one presence, the one power. Because there is only one life. There is one power. There is one presence. There is one love. And each and every one of us are part of that. That power flows through us. We are the channels of that love. It is through us that amazing things happen in this world. And I am grateful to know that. I am grateful for the teaching that teaches me who I am and what I am capable of. And it teaches me who you are. And then I know what you're capable of. And we are all so capable of that divine love. So as we move through this holiday season with all of the sparkles and the tinsel and the flashing lights and the family, that we hold close to that divine love. That we recognize that we are divine love. And that we share that divine love into every situation in which we find ourselves. Because I know that each and every one of us are capable of that. And that is what I hold on to. And I'm grateful for that. I've already told you some of the stuff that I'm grateful for. I am grateful for this teaching. I am grateful for this place. I am grateful for the ministers. I am grateful for the practitioners. I am grateful for the amazing musicians, right? I'm grateful for each and every one of you, for your light, for your love, for the amazingness of your presence. And I relax into this knowing that it is so, and so it is.
Say with me now, something wonderful is happening through me.
Something wonderful is happening through me.
I feel it in my body.
I feel it in my body.
I feel it in my mind.
I feel it in my mind.
I feel it in everything I am.
I feel it in everything I am.
I choose it.
I choose it.
I trust it.
I trust it.
I use it.
I use it.
And I love it.
And I love it.
So it is.
So it is.
They always get a giggle out of that.